Where do people's problems exist?
In their minds.
Okay, right, in their minds. What part of their mind? You're right, it is in your mind.
Subconscious, maybe. Or it could be also their like their decision making part,
Yeah,
like the part that decides that they have
okay.
this problem.
I think you said subconscious first, right?
Yeah, well, definitely subconscious.
So it's definitely subconscious. Some people call that superconscious, unconscious. I'm going to use the same expression across the board, although sometimes people make distinctions. So, how do we know problems exist in the subconscious and not in the conscious mind? Like the clients call you up on the phone, right? And they're like, I'm depressed. Okay, well that's their conscious mind telling you they're depressed, right? So they think they know their problem, but they think it's conscious. So why would we think it's not? Why would we assume like, well, that's not exactly right? How do we know it's subconscious and not conscious? Well, for one thing, they haven't fixed it. So if it was a conscious problem and they understood it, wouldn't they resolve it or wouldn't they make moves towards resolving it? Well, so why are they there telling us I've tried everything? This is what happens to me regularly, and I'll tell you why I like it on day 3. I love it when people tell me I've done everything. I've tried everything, CBT, NLP, I've gone to fucking acupuncture, massage, nothing works. It used to freak me out because I was like, well, what makes you think I can fix it? But now I'm like, that's great. I'm super glad you've tried all of that because we're going to try a fully different approach now. So it has to, yep, go ahead, Philip.
I just want to say that I'm being quiet here because I've seen a couple of your courses already. I checked them out on the portal, so I don't feel like rattling off the answers, but I've already
You're
seen
more than
them.
welcome to.
No.
I don't want you to hold back. There's no need to do that. I mean, like I said, the live is just is kind of like a bonus or a review. But go
Yeah.
ahead, say what you want to say, Dana. And you can always go ahead, Philip. You're not going to ruin the surprise or anything.
Well, I think because we do have parts of ourselves, and the parts that are sometimes, in control are like false beliefs that were formed when you were younger, and that part of yourself is making decisions, but you don't really, maybe some of us are aware of it and some of us aren't, but that has to be dealt with, I think, in order to like that part has to be on board with making the
That's right.
change. That part will sabotage you
Yeah.
to make the change because it feels, for whatever the reason, it decided that's how it was safe, or
Yeah.
that's what keeps you safe, or that's what keeps you. I
And would you say, from having done many client sessions in your career, would you say that one person smokes for the same reason another person smokes?
No, I would not say that. I think you probably are saying that, but I think the reasons could be different, but like maybe the root is always the same, like for comfort or to keep you safe or to feel, there's a root like
Yeah,
verb.
you're making a very good point, which is the subconscious has a role, which is to keep you safe. And
Right.
so it always enacts that same role, which is repetition
Right.
or, hey, welcome, or safety. But the reason why it's keeping a person safe is not the same from person to
Right.
person. As you said, one person over here, their parents abused them. One person over here, had a childhood disease. One person over here had an accident. One person over here had a divorce. And they started to smoke at some point as a result of whatever combination of factors.
Right.
And so the bottom line is, I have no fucking clue what that is when you sit down in front of me. I do know, yes, your mind is seeking safety. Yes, you have some, problem that added up to something, but I don't really know anything in detail about that. And then the challenge becomes based on me not knowing, based on me only knowing what you told me, which is conscious, how am I supposed to develop some inroad into you based on nothing? And I mean, I'm laughing myself because as you can see, I spent a lot of money behind me trying to tell myself that I would be able to know. that there is some way to be able to guess or figure that out. But the fact is, there isn't. A person is opaque until they start talking, right? Until they start expressing to you where the thing came from, what started for them, how they understand it, why it's bothering them. I know jack shit. So bottom line is what the clients tell us in their intake, what the clients tell us or think about in their own appraisal of their problem is not really helpful. In fact, it's kind of confusing and distracting. So all problems exist in the subconscious mind, and that's not available to me as soon as the client sits down. So my only option is to talk about it and ask them about it. That's going to be your first step here, is to just ask questions about the problem. So I'm going to talk you through it now with a little. Oh, and before I do that, tell me this too. What are the main issues you have using the modalities that you've been using so far before I tell you about the alternative? What's the main problem with like talk therapy?
Well, I followed a path very, very similar to yours, except in terms of the speaking directly and interjecting ourselves as little as possible. I went through a thing called clean language, which
Yeah, clean
when I
language.
trained for that, I found that to be extremely hypnotic.
Yep,
I was really surprised
yep.
at how hypnotic that was. And that became sort of the way I breathe, in and out. It's just right there. And what I have realized, and when I was attracted to your course, I was wanting something that sort of brings it all together.
Yep.
And I love the idea for the unconscious moments. I love the focus on that because I started to realize that whether it's
Yes.
NLP or what have you, um, they're all triggering the unconscious moments, except people are so caught up in the protocol, whatever the protocol is, NLP or whatever, that they're paying more attention to
Miss
the
it.
protocol than they are to the unconscious moments,
Yeah.
you know. So uh, this is how I want to practice that and really solidify that and bring that all,
So what's the
together.
problem that you're pointing out? Because I think you nailed it. That's exactly right. My question was, so what's the problem with the traditional methods? And you said NLP, all these methods. The problem is,
The problem is they're paying more attention to the conscious protocol, the conscious mind protocol, than they are to the unconscious responses that are happening right there in front of them.
exactly. And by the way, what actually that amounts to is ego. You're thinking somehow you know something or you learned something that matters more than the individual. So there's an ego problem, actually. It's like importing something that might be valuable because I paid to learn it, or it might have no implication on this person whatsoever. So it's kind of a weird way of justifying ourselves. Well, I know that this has worked in the past, so maybe it'll work now, but we don't know. So I agree with you. Like a major problem with the methods we use so far is they're guesses. Yep. Dana or Donna?
Dana, like
Donna.
Hannah,
What?
banana Dana.
Okay, Banana Dana. That helps me. Thank you.
I hope I'm not asking too many questions, but
Absolutely not.
let
I
me
love
know.
questions. This
Um,
is the questions course. If there's somewhere you want
right.
to ask questions, I think it's here.
Okay, well, for me, it's different because I don't have all that like
Yep.
hypno. I don't
Yep.
have any of that. I intuit that when I look at someone's photo and I talk to them. I know the subconscious. I know where it comes from, and I can pinpoint it. The reason why I'm doing this is because sometimes I'm not able to change the behavior, even though I can say, hey, what happened when you were 7? Something with your,
Yeah,
you can
that's
like
right.
get into the knowledge of it
Yeah.
and say, oh, wow, yeah, that makes sense. But I
Yep.
can't, sometimes it does work, like,
Yep.
because I do other things, but a lot of, with some of the really sticky, it's like they can't get out
Right.
of their own way, even though now they see it. So
Yep.
that's my hope is that whatever this technique is,
Yes.
enables me to have that. because I don't have the training of NLP and all those things.
That's great though. I mean, the less you have for this, the easier. But I like what you pointed out with the problem, which is sometimes I can bring the unconscious to consciousness, which is what you're explaining, but I'm still missing the step of change. So I'm going to fix that for you too. That's part of the course. I mean, any other problems that people have? No one's mentioned. Oh yeah. Go ahead, Shani. Shani?
Said it right.
Oh, good. That one took me a
Said it
while.
right. So I RTT background. Are you? I think that's what you are too, right? It's
No,
just
I'm not. I'm not.
oh,
No.
oh, I thought you were for some reason. Like going back to unnecessary trauma. You know, like we go back and look for the scenes. So although I've had
Exactly.
wonderful results, this class or ACH is like
Yes.
just 100 times. It just breaks away all that. It's just not necessary unless something needs to surface, right? And then it surfaces instead of us going to look for it and
I
pulling.
mean, I love what you just said. You're so right. Like, it's not that it doesn't work, it's that it doesn't work for everyone. And some people are negatively affected by it. I remember
Yeah,
doing,
because
yeah, go ahead.
there's like a lot of, sexual abuse and
Exactly.
bullying and just all these things that you don't need to.
Right. And so for
Wow.
anyone who doesn't know what RTT is, just explain to them. It's
No, yeah, it's just going back to the root cause of so say somebody has anxiety, which that's what I do is anxiety.
yeah,
And so you want to go back to what the root cause is of why they have the anxiety. So you'd like walk them down 10 steps. There's all these other little things.
right.
I don't do them. I've always skipped over them because I always thought they were cheesy, which is funny because then I started
That's another problem.
like, oh wow, good. Other people think it's cheesy. So go back to the root cause. So you go back to a scene when you're 7 and
Right.
your dad is sexually abusing you or blah, blah, blah. And then you like, what's the next scene that you first felt anxiety? And honestly, I've always had great results, but to find out that I don't need to take them back there
Yes.
is like just so amazing. So you go back to the root cause.
And by the way, for those who don't know, I mean, I think RTT is very cool and I've had good results with it also, but it does have this very set up structure, which is like, okay, first regression, second regression, third regression. And inside of each regression is like, where are you now? What are you wearing? So it kind of
Right.
has like speed, put you on the spot kind of thing, which, as you said, for complex trauma, first of all, re-traumatizes people. And secondly, even if it's not offensive or not painful for the person, if they didn't need that, if that wasn't part of what they were sitting there in front of you for anyway, why go there? So again, it's just the thing about I have an expectation of my method and I'm going to put you through that wheel, whether or not that's, what is best for you. So yeah, I totally agree with you. The forced, implicit, this is how it has to be is a problem. The one other thing nobody has said, I want to get to my presentation, so I'll just give it to you. Thank you for participating, for sharing, is time. Like I'd say a huge problem for 95% of people who are in this industry is it's taking too long, or I feel we already solved it, but you're still coming telling me it's unresolved. I mean, like, no offense to people. I like working with people and I don't mind the repetitiveness of it sometimes. But I also have gotten to the point of like, well, if I see 100 people a year, it's a lot of problems to listen to. And if X person over here has already resolved their problem, but wants to talk to me about it again, I get a little bit frustrated. So why is it that they don't feel that resolution? Why is it that they still feel caught up with it? Why do they still want my time? Well, it's because I'm not done. I didn't do something, right? Like they will know it's done when it's done. So there's something going on with these ordinary methods where it's like, I'll see you next week. I'll see you next week. And they believe that they need to see you next week. Even in regular hypnosis, the packages are like 6-pack, 10-pack, 12-pack. Like, God help me if I have to see someone 12 times at this point for the same fucking thing. I just don't have the patience. I don't have the bandwidth. And also I can't make $1 doing that, so it's worthless anyway. So time is a big consideration.